Hello everyone, welcome to Dr. Rajkumar Academy. Welcome to the session on 12-12-2022. Now, let's quickly look into the issues. India urged to adopt ASEAN consensus on Myanmar. See guys, India and Indonesia are very important because in G20 summit, after Indonesia, it is India which has got the position. Now, in G20, all the country names will be arranged alphabetically, and then on the basis of that, they will be giving us presidentship. So, after Indonesia, India has got by practice, that is like, okay, after Indonesia, India's name will come, so India will be given this. Now, in this case, from Indonesia to India, when it is shifting, the relationship between India and Indonesia is also improving. Indonesia is a country which tries to balance both China and India. So having good relations with Indonesia will have a very good impact in ASEAN relation as well. But there is one issue which Indonesia has pointed out. India is supporting Myanmar government. So let me explain this, guys. In Myanmar, right from the beginning, there is a dispute going on between government and military, democracy and military. Some people wanted to say that democracy is important for Myanmar and were supported by India, US, and many other Western societies. On the other hand, military dictatorship, juntas said it is not democracy, but other socio-economic rights are important, which was supported by China, USSR. So, India always supported democracy till 1990s. But later we realized that if we are going closer to democracy and anti-military, then Myanmar military was supporting insurgency activities in northeast India. Why were they supporting? They were like, India, when you don't support us internationally, why should we support you? Was their basic question. It was at this point of time India realized that we should not support democracy or military, but we should support Myanmar. If we support Myanmar, irrespective of whoever is in power, then Myanmar will not support Naga militancy groups, Kukis, and others. This will ensure safety in Northeast India and which is giving us results now. So recently, democracy came to power in Myanmar and India supported democracy. But democracy was removed and junta regime came to power. Now India is again supporting Myanmar. Whereas ASEAN countries have said that we want to go for ASEAN 5-point consensus. If we implement this 5-point consensus, political problem in Myanmar can be completely eliminated. This 5-point consensus is given in the next page, so I'll give you that notes. But I hope you understood this aspect. Stop grading terrorists as good and bad. India in United Nations. China, whenever India says he is a terrorist in Pakistan, please put sanctions against him. China says, no, no, he's not so bad. As India says, so we can't call him to be a terrorist. So if we start classifying terrorists as good terrorists and bad terrorists, not so bad terrorists, right, then what is going to happen? They will get legitimacy and their actions will never stop. So if at all we are fighting against any terror organizations, we should not look whether it is religion based, whether it is on the basis of nationality, ethnicity, culture, nothing matters. Terrorism in all forms has to be condemned, is what India keeps on talking about. CBI quizzes Kavita in Delhi liquor policy case for over 7 hours. Karke summons state Congress leaders to Delhi for a meeting today. Revamp on the cards for iconic Tindi Veedi. SDMC reverses fortunes of Tirthahalli school. Not required, guys. Is back on track. PT Usha can create a roadmap for India's bid for Olympics in 2030s. So, if she is given the position, she will be able to help India, is what they are trying to tell. Okay. The role of China test in India's grand strategy. See, guys, Habimon Jacob is a professor at Jawaharlal Nehru University. He has his own ideological talks and he normally tries to give his own way of India's foreign policy, which the governments won't accept, but for analysis purpose, it may be helpful. Now he says if India wants to become a global power and if India wants to plan for a bigger strategy, then India must focus on China test. He says that we should do a China test which will tell us whether we should do it or not. So his major argument is before taking any decision, go with China test. If you feel that would benefit us, then go with it, else don't go with it. Now, for example, let us look at this issue. The first one, he says, let us do the China test for Indo US relations. He says, India and US relationship is not as easy as it looks. India is good with US. India is good with US. India is good with Russia. India is good with China. India is good with all other countries except Pakistan. But the way India is dealing with US, will it benefit us or not? To know that we should go for China test is what he is trying to say. He argues that why is China attacking India near LOC, Galwan Valley, all these things? This is because India is growing closer to US. India is closer to US in Indo-Pacific region, South China Sea dispute, East China Sea. So, to counter US, China is attacking India. So, if India disengages itself from US, if it tries to come out of US, then China will feel comfortable and China will not attack us. So, this is the first point they try to tell. Second, should India try to have peace talks with China, sorry, with Pakistan? For this, he says, yes, we should have very good relations with Pakistan or peace with Pakistan. Why? Because if we have peace with Pakistan, we can focus on how China is trying to counter us in Nepal, counter us in Bangladesh, counter us in Sri Lanka. If we are occupied in Pakistan, we cannot focus on the other countries, is what he is trying to argue. Third, if if at all India is very busy balancing Pakistan, then India won't be in a position to balance China. And second important thing, India should allow US to talk to Pakistan. And if India doesn't allow, Pakistan will completely enter into China, and US will not have any control over Pakistan, which will be very difficult for India to deal with. Here, the basic question we need to ask is, even today, Pakistan is in China's camp rather than in US camp. Yes, US controls some sort of Pakistan, but US controls every other country. But saying that Pakistan will completely go into Chinese hands and US will give up Pakistan because US needs Pakistan for Taliban issues, they have nuclear weapons. So things are not as easy as it says. But yeah, that is his opinion and he has a right to say. And then he says the Russia connection. India is not closer to Russia, is what he argues. If India becomes closer to Russia, if India becomes closer to Russia, it is better because if India becomes closer to US and others, Russia will become a supportive of China and indirectly they may support Pakistan as well. So which will be a problem for us. And he says India is playing into the hands of Russia, sorry, US, but that's not true. So guys, so this is his own way of analyzing the things, but yeah, is China important in our foreign policy? That's true, but making our foreign policy only with respect to China shows that, like, we are accepting the Chinese hegemony rather than countering them. So if you need to, one side he is trying to say that, like, if you need to counter China, then you need to be away from US and you need to go closer to Russia. But Russia is also closer to China. There is no possibility that Russia and China will be on split. So India definitely needs support to counter China, and that has to be with US. So either go closely with US or be closer with everyone. That's the better thing that India is practicing. See, guys, most of these professors do not have first-hand information about what exactly happens at the diplomatic level. So they make their own assumptions and they give, saying that, like, this needs to be done. Because these bookish things will not have any impact on the foreign policy directly. Crypto regulation a key focus as G20 finance talks begin tomorrow. See, guys, India, as it is head of G20 at several meetings, it is planning to ensure that cryptocurrency and international taxation policies, right? International taxation policies and what exactly we need to do with respect to maintaining the global economy is what is the focus of the government in G20. Cryptocurrency, science and technology, try to read, guys. High possibility they may give you question economy on this. Police get go ahead. Enforcement app agencies stepping up action against pro Khalistan forces. See, guys, in Punjab, there was a group which wanted to separate Punjab from India called as Khalistan group. Even now, it has support from Canada, US, and some European parts. But fortunately, like, with measures, we are able to get these people out. Sukhvinder Singh Sukhu takes oath. 19 assemblies have less than 10% women MLAs. Sukhu, an astute politician's incredible journey to the top post. Modi slams opposition party Bill seeks EC role in party's internal polling. Think out of the box to solve problems of vacancies. If they give the solution, it is important. If they think out of the box, it's not important, guys. If they ask you to think out of the box, it's not important. Yeah. Uh, yes, I told you I'll give you the notes on yeah, ASEAN consensus. You're right. Myanmar. Hyphen. After after junta regime came to power in Myanmar, political crisis between military and democracy increased. Political crisis in between military and democracy increased. To help Myanmar come out of the problem, India India is trying to engage with military, whereas whereas ASEAN countries ASEAN countries have provided ASEAN consensus, which has 5 points. First one, immediate end to violence in the country. Second one, dialogue among all parties. Third, appointment of special diplomat. Fourth, humanitarian assistance by ASEAN. Next, special envoys visit to Myanmar to meet with all parties. Clean Ganga changes course to conservation, tourism, livelihood. Yes, earlier it was only to clean, but now most of it is being cleaned. Now they are going for conservation. What is the meaning of conservation? The species that are there in Ganga needs to be protected, like Gangetic dolphin. Tourism has to be promoted, with new innovations and all. Third is livelihood. We are planning to reduce fertilizer based agricultural activity to organic farming in this particular region, guys. So these three are the important points that we should look into. New COVID wave in China could last for 3 months, mainly because winter season COVID affect us more. So last time also during Jan we had a brief COVID cases. Ukraine attacks occupied Melitopol, Kherson shelling by Russia's kills two. High level US envoys to visit China in an attempt to repair ties. See, on one side, a country like US is trying to engage China positively, and on the other side, people tell you have to watch. So if you look at these articles itself, we don't understand what should we trust. So yes, guys, these are the issues that have been there. So thank you.